I'd like to introduce tonight's major sponsor, an economic development advocate and arts specialist, Philip Morris, CEO and President of Proctor's.
Thank you all. This is a surprising place to be. Typically, we're asking you to sponsor us, and yet the reverse has happened, and it's only possible because a few friends of Proctor's and a number of board members made commitments to make our sponsorship affordable and made it possible. But I'm reminded standing here of something that happened to me in my new home recently. It was a Saturday, and there was a knock on the door. There were two people there, young guys with white shirts and black ties and books in their arms, you can imagine. And I was in a particularly hospitable mood, and I invited them in and said, have a seat. And they sat at the couch and in the living room, and I offered them some tea, and they said, yes, I'd love some tea, and brought the tea in. And again, I was in kind of a hospitable mood and said to them, well, what's next? And they looked at each other quite sheepishly and said, we don't know. We've never gotten this far before. So I had to make sure that I knew what to say, since we had never gotten this far before. We chose to make this commitment to be in front of you for two basic reasons. First, a small ad for Proctor's. Many of you know the events, the major events, the Lion King, the Wickeds, the major things we do. Some of you may not know the BBC orchestras or the film series that we do, over 100 titles. Outside is brochures, and I won't bore you with it all, but pick some up, look at them. We have more events as the Entertainment and Arts, Performing Arts Center of the Capital Region than you can imagine. Over 120 live events and 120 titles of film every year. We do more than that, though. We are in almost every school district in the Capital Region. 40,000 children last year were touched by our programming. Curricula-based programming in the schools, as well as events at Proctor's. We touch families. We make sure that families without means have a way to be in our facility. Just last Friday for the Harlem Dance Theater of Harlem, there were over 50 families that were there at way affordable prices, $5, because we wanted families to participate. We work hard to cement relationships in our neighborhood and in our community, working with the Schenectady City Mission. When you come to an event at Proctor's, you're welcomed by ambassadors. Those ambassadors are, in fact, people just rising out of homelessness. Imagine you arrive having paid $60 or $70 for a ticket, and someone who was homeless maybe only months ago is finally working again and welcoming you and telling you where to go get some bite to eat or where the bathrooms are. We try very hard to be linked and connected and an important part of all components of the community. We've done some amazing things. We built a central heating and chilling plant you may not know about that heats and cools a number of our neighbors with pipes underground, shipping hot and cold water that they can then extract the heat and the cooling from and ship it back so we can recool it or reheat it and send it back to them again. In essence, we reduce the carbon footprint of those properties of us in the downtown by 45 pounds of carbon an hour, which is kind of amazing to think about. I think about 45 pounds, and it's hard to believe that every hour, 24 hours a day, that amount of carbon is not going in the air. And we're proud of what we do, and we hope as we ask you to support us, you will. But this was a more important event than just to talk about us. We would never have done it if it was just about us. This was about the right time and the right place to talk about the larger cultural scene. Right time and right place because this global foundry expansion is really a metaphor for the creative energies of the Capital Region. Many would say begun over a century ago with GE, certainly supported with UAlbany and Union College and RPI and the incredible creative forces that the area has. And this emblem of the new region, this energy and effort that CEG itself represents and Global Foundries becomes sort of our shining star of, the cultural community may not be up to the task of being able to support. I figure there are three legs to the stool of bringing employees and therefore other businesses to the region, to any place. One leg is healthcare, one leg is education, one leg is arts and culture. The healthcare in our community is doing incredibly well. I'm amazed at what's happened in the last 3 or 4 years with healthcare. Similarly, our educational system is terrific, both at the college university level and at the public school level. It's something to be proud of and easily a leg of a stool to stand on. Our culturals, though, have the inheritance of 4 small cities. They are not, and while I'm proud to say that Proctor's could stand up and does stand next to the Bushnell in Hartford or the Shays in Buffalo with great pride, these are facilities and venues and organizations that come from 4 small cities. And those 4 small cities are competing, as you guys compete, as Global Foundries competes, in a larger world where there's the inheritance of bigger cities, the inheritance of a century, often, of endowment, wealth, and capitalization that we simply don't have. Some of our culturals are at risk of not being here. Now, this is not to be preachy, because in fact, we're not scared about that. We think the opportunity is now, which is why we wanted to speak now, for the changes that are necessary and are emblematic in the room and with Global Foundries. It's time to regionalize these institutions. It's time to think about our cultural organizations the way we think about other things regionally. It's time to imagine a theatrical organization that produces, presents, and manages Capital Region wide. It's time to think about such a thing around music. It's time to think around such a thing around museums. It's time to think about that in ways that we may have never thought about it before. And the cultural institutions themselves have been talking for a number of years about that possibility. What does it mean? It means in the next few months, many of you will be asked to participate in one way, shape, or form in some fairly new thinking. Probably a regional arts event for a week that's never been considered or thought of before. Probably a regional theatrical enterprise that has never been considered before. What will happen when you're asked? Well, you might be asked to serve on a new board or new advisory committee. Say yes. You might be asked to sponsor something you've never sponsored before. Say yes. You might be asked to have your Christmas party, your holiday party, your client event at a cultural institution rather than someplace else. Say yes. You might be asked to purchase tickets to an event next spring to do as a client event or an employee event, or to incentivize your employees to participate in making these culturals strong. Say yes. It's the step we need to take, because we're only going to be as strong as you allow us to be. And we're very excited about that opportunity, all of us. Thank you. I love being in your living room.
Great job, Philip. And it's that thinking we need, regionalization of the arts, and it's very important to job retention and recruitment. And we've made a lot of strides. And those of you who haven't been to Proctor's, I'll give you one plug. Go. It's spectacular.